Hello and welcome to Maths and Somali Mind. Today I'll be looking at deriving the quadratic formula. And quadratic, all that is just completing the square and always has this kind of form. Wrong color, change the color to alright. So the form the quadratic normally takes is ax squared plus bx plus c, and all that is set to equal to 0. So we're gonna be using the completing the square, because completing the square, I know a lot of formulas have really hard name, but we're gonna go through and show you that the name might be hard, but the method is not really hard. Alright, so first what we're going to be doing is we're going to factor a out. So we can have a on its outside and put all the x's together plus bx, but we're going to divide it here by a. So when we distribute this a again, we're going to get the same expression again. Alright, and then we keep the c here on its own, do nothing, and keep the equation set to 0. Alright, now we're gonna do the completing the square method, where we're just gonna take half of this term b of a and then square it and then add it to both sides of this equation. So this goes like this: x squared plus b of a x plus 1/2 of b of a squared. Alright, plus c. We don't do anything to c yet, but we're gonna add this term of b squared over 4a on this side, and that b squared over 4a comes from when we simplify and expand this side, where a is multiplied to this side. It simplifies into b squared over 4a. One of the a's will cancel. Alright, keep going. We're gonna now simplify the left hand side and move c to the other side and subtract it from b squared over 4a. Still keeping a on this side. X squared plus b over 2a squared. So if you were to some mistake here. Alright, remove this squared here, because this square is now going to be on the bracket. Alright, so if we were to expand this, we're going to get that expression again. So keep going on this side. So b squared over 4a minus c. Alright, so at this moment what we're going to do is get rid of a on both sides, on the left hand side. So we're going to get the x plus b over 2a squared on this side, and then b squared over 4a on this side minus c, but we're going to divide by a as well, because if we divide on the left, we divided a on this left to get rid of a, we're going to have to do on this side as well. Alright, so this thing simplifies to x plus b over 2a. Alright, squared, and then this side becomes b squared over 4a squared. Alright, keep the hands writing clean. Alright, minus c over a. Alright, that's a really good point. That's a really good step that will lead us to the next major step. So now we are really interested on this side of the equation. Alright, this side of the equation, we're going to have to write b squared and c under one denominator. So the only way I can do that is to multiply 4a over a on the c over a term, and then I still have the left hand side. I've done nothing to the left hand side. We're only going to do on the right hand side. So we have b squared over 4a squared here, and then now we're going to do this operation. We have 4ac divided by 4a squared. Now we have the same denominator here, so we can write it as one big line, so one fraction on the right hand side. So we're going to have b squared minus 4ac divided by 4a squared. Alright, nothing happened to the left hand side yet, so we're going to keep it as it is, x plus b over 2a, alright, squared. Alright, so that is really promising. As you can see, this side looks like exactly what quadratic equation, the determinant look like. So we're going to keep going. Now what we're going to do, the next step is take square root of both sides, left hand side and right hand side. Alright, so this looks like this. Alright, we're gonna take the big square root of x plus b over 2a squared equals plus or minus. This is because there's two roots. We don't know what was squared under this square root here. So it could have been a negative in here, or it could have been positive in here. So we're just gonna have to keep the positive and negative roots. We are interested in both of them. So this part is b squared minus 4ac divided by 4a squared. And here what I can do is, like, I can take the square root of both sides independently and then still have the division in the middle. So still have a plus or minus here. So keeping on the right hand side, and I'll explain what happens on the left hand side as well. So I have square root of b squared minus 4ac here, but the bottom simplifies to just 2a. Because when you take square root of a squared input, it cancels out. It's the same thing as, let's say if you had 2 squared and you wanted to raise that to the power of a half, because that's what square root is. Okay, it just becomes 2 over 2, which will cancel out. So it's like 2 to the power of 1. So in here, the square roots cancelled, so it just became a. Alright, so on the left hand side, also the same thing. This whole expression, if you put x plus b over 2a excuse me here with my handwriting, and then you squared that, and then you also raise it to the power of a half. So that goes on top here, right? And then you're going to be 2 over 2. 2 divided by 2. So it becomes 1. So the whole thing just disappears. The 2's disappear and the half disappear. Alright, so it becomes 2 divided by 2, which is 1. So the whole thing is raised to the power of 1, which is just the same thing as, alright, same thing as x plus b over 2a on the left hand side. Alright, very promising and very close to the final formula that we need. Alright, so we're just gonna have to subtract b over 2a from both sides. Alright, so x plus b over 2a minus b over 2a equals negative b over 2a plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac alright, square root of 4ac. Alright, so that becomes minus 4ac divided by 2a. Alright, so this one's cancelled here. these two cancel, so you're only left with x equals, and then here what you can see is like they have both the same denominator, so that means we can write it as 1, which is minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a, which is voila, which is what you call the quadratic formula. This is what is called the quadratic formula, and I'll write that in a different color to just emphasize it. I'll write it as okay, x equals plus or minus, that came the wrong way, so it's all the way negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. The whole thing is divided by 2a, and that's the quadratic formula. That's what you use to solve quadratic equations. Quadratic equations normally can take a different form. It could take, for example, an example of quadratic formula will look like this: 3x squared minus 6x plus, or say, alright, minus 15. The whole thing will equal to 0. That is normally a quadratic formula. And this is a right here. That's a, that's b, and that is c. So you can use this formula I've derived here to input these numbers, and you find the roots that make this equation equal to 0. And normally you can also graph it to check if the quadratic if the roots are on the line or not. Thank you for watching this video, and I enjoy if you will be really helpful if you could subscribe and also like these videos, and if you know anyone that will find it useful, please share it. Thank you very much.